Welcome to Rooted Realities, where honest talk meets soulful insight. This podcast will guide you through life's ups and downs, offering clarity, courage, and a gentle reminder to give yourself grace. I'm your host, Christmas Miller, holistic health practitioner, life coach, and spiritual mentor. With each episode, I'll blend ancient wisdom with modern insight to inspire you to stay accountable and empowered. So if you're ready to grow from the inside out, you're in the right place. Let's get started. Hi, everyone. Christmas here. Thank you for tuning in. Today's episode is a bit more on the cerebral side. I want you to pay attention and really think about the message I'm sharing with you today. So let's start first with the visual and then a question. I want you to imagine waking up to a reality you've been accidentally feeding. Now let that sit for a second. A reality you've been unconsciously feeding, with no clear direction or ideas of the outcome, not one. But your energy, attention, and emotions are steering you somewhere. Now picture this. You look up and realize this reality is like a bus. And it starts to move fast on a road you don't recognize, in an unknown direction, and you're not the driver. You're just a passenger, going wherever it goes, however it gets there. Now just think for a moment. How might you feel about that? Seriously, think about it. Probably not good. I know I wouldn't. You'd likely feel uncomfortable and definitely not secure. But that's what happens when your focus is running on autopilot, all over the place and unaligned with your intentions. Sometimes fears, worries, or even things that aren't yours quietly take over your focus. And by the time you notice, the scenery's changed, the situation feels all wrong, and you're already knee-deep in it. But the good news is, you can get off that runaway bus and chart a new route. What I'm about to share with you is how your focus really does shape your future, how it works against you when it's left unchecked, and how you can take back your seat at the wheel. But first, let's get clear on something important. Attention and focus are not the same thing. Attention is a reaction you give to something. If you're not mindful, something else can hijack that attention and redirect it in ways that don't support your well-being or your peace. Now, half the time, our attention gets captured because something was strategically designed to do that. But focus, it carries weight and impact. Think of it like this. Some of us eat foods every day knowing they're not good for us. Not because we don't understand the risks, but because the consequences don't show up instantly. It's the slow impact that often gets dismissed. You know, that one bite won't hurt, or that one habit won't change anything until it does. This behavior applies everywhere, not just with food. We knowingly consume thoughts, fears, stressors, and negativity, not because we're not aware, but because we underestimate what repeated exposure actually does to us. And the impact hits every sector of your life. It hits your relationships, your finances, your mindset, and even your potential. All it takes is feeding something a little bit at a time for your focus to become hostage. Like that perspective that's not truly yours, or that worry you didn't have until the potential was pointed out, or that story or past you've outgrown, but people still keep it alive. Here's the thing. Repetition is powerful. It creates habit, especially the kind you don't want. But what you feed consistently, even in small amounts, it eventually shapes how you feel, think, and the direction your life goes. So for you to make this shift from that, you don't start forcing positivity or trying to control your thoughts. You start with acknowledging what's already influenced or impacted you. Then from there, you decide what deserves more of your focus and what doesn't. Once you know the difference, believe me, you stop feeding what drains you and start nurturing what actually builds your future. Now, all of what I'm talking about, this ain't new. It's as old as mankind. Long before modern psychology and long before we had language for mindset or manifestation, there were cultures that understood the power of where a person placed their inner attention. Across parts of Africa, there's an old teaching that your life force follows your gaze, not just your eyes, but your inner gaze. Where you look energetically is where your path begins to form. If your inner gaze stays on fear, the road shapes itself around that fear. If it rests on intention, the road shifts to meet it. This wasn't metaphysics to them. It was survival and truth, a truth that still applies today. In many Native traditions, there's a practice known as tracking, not just tracking animals or weather patterns, but tracking yourself, your thoughts and emotions, your reactions, your internal signals. Because what you don't track eventually tracks you. They understood something we forget in our busy world, that awareness directs the path before action does. When you combine these teachings, the message becomes clear. You can't shape a future you aren't paying attention to, and you can't redirect a path you refuse to notice. What you become is an unwilling participant to what happens next, and I don't endorse that. Remember, focus is presence with intention. It's choosing where your inner gaze rests, even when the outside world is loud. So let's talk about what it actually looks like to take your focus back for real, not in theory. And you do that by starting to name what keeps vying for your attention. Then you start asking yourself the harder question: why do I keep giving it an audience? Because naming it alone won't stop it from running things. A lot of us know already exactly what pulls us in, but never stopped to ask why we let it in or what it costs us every time we do. This is where the shift starts, right there. You look at how it impacts the things that matter to you now and the future you say you want. If it doesn't add balance, peace, or any sense of well-being, if it doesn't build anything aligned for you, why is it still getting all of your focus? That's the question. Now, once you understand that, you stop letting it run on autopilot. And from there, you pull your energy back intentionally, not passively. You'll see the old playbook coming from miles away, and you'll notice the old pull when it shows up. But instead, you'll choose something different, something aligned with your needs, not your fears. And even if something bright and shiny does slip in, because it will try, even if it captures your focus, and even when something pulls you a little bit off track, guess what? You're going to return quicker because you understand the pattern now. So here's the bottom line of the message. If you want well-being, clarity, or anything that actually supports your life in positive ways, you feed what reinforces that. That's what you do. You feed that. That's how you reclaim authority. Despite everything happening in the world, you can still move forward, and you can still shift things in your life, and you can still create positive change. Mankind is still here today. That's your proof, because many others did it before us. But this time, we can all do it differently, with one aligned focus at a time. Thank you for listening to Rooted Realities. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe and leave a review. It really helps others find the show. Your support is greatly appreciated. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook for more updates and new content. Until next time, stay rooted and keep growing.